So I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. One of the things that's happened over the last, probably over the last couple of years, and really, is we've seen a lot of our existing small groups just not make it. We have small groups that are working, okay? We have a few of them that are working. The interesting thing that's happened over the last few years is that, we are not unlike most churches, okay? What you should know is that the national average, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but the national average says that 65 to 75% of small groups don't make it. And the reason why 65 to 75% of small groups don't make it is, if we're just being really honest, small groups are the highest form of commitment to community in a church. Okay? I mean, it really is. And I know that a lot of us may say that, okay, but what kills a small group as quickly as anything is a lack of commitment, a lack of investment, okay? And I think what happens and what has happened for a lot of, and I'm going to walk through a little bit of a talk here, okay, just because it gives me some notes to make sure you hear everything you need to hear, okay? But commitment levels vary, basically, especially when you start looking at just how people come. And so one of the things is, if we're just going to put it in a span of progression, when you come to church on Sunday morning and do this, what we just did, the communal worship experience, you can come in anonymity, and you can get your Jesus, and then you can leave, okay? Like, that's an option for you. Okay? And then the next form, seemingly, of commitment to the family and communion with the family is you might actually speak to somebody during the greeting time. And you might say more than just, "I'm fine, how are you?" Okay? Like, we go a little bit beyond that. One of the things that we felt compelled to do, because I know that in our culture today, it is difficult to go from this room in worship to the front door of somebody's house, is creating this connection class, the connection classes that we have. You also throw in the dynamic that Raintree has gone through, and we have well over 100 people who have come to Raintree since the end of 2016. Well over. We have 1/3 of our church that has less than 2 years of history with us, okay? Now you throw into the fact, not just that we have a third of a church that doesn't know each other very well, 1/3 of our church is 18 years of age and younger, okay? That's a great dynamic, by the way. I have a lot of friends in ministry, and when I tell them about our church, I get to brag, because a lot of them are not in churches where we have phenomenal folks who are seasoned in life, and yet we also have a lot of young families. So that's a great dynamic. But one of the things that's really interesting, the reason why that spread from 65 to 75% exists is because in small groups with young families, they're the 75% that don't make it. And the reason why is because life is busy and we don't know what to do with kids. And not knowing what to do with kids in the small group kills small groups. I will tell you, this is one of those moments where, to be honest with you, this could be a thinning the herd moment, okay? And that's what I want to let you know about small groups. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to this meeting, my job, at least what I feel like is my job, is to run off anybody who really doesn't want to be in a small group with the commitment level that comes to being in a small group. And that is not to say that we don't want you here or don't want you involved in a small group, but I want you to understand what you're signing up for, okay? I want you to invest in what you're signing up for. And you may not be in a season of life where you can make small groups. That's okay. There is no shame in that. There's the reason why we have connection classes, okay? There's a reason why we have opportunities to serve in ministry. There's all sorts of things in which you can enjoy community. But the one thing that cannot be overstated is showing up ready to invest in small groups and carrying the load, a shared carrying the load of what small groups are. At the end of this meeting, I'm going to basically give you other options okay, when it comes to if small groups may not be for you or this season of life for your family, that's okay. I want to make sure I emphasize the other areas of community that you can jump in with Raintree, but we're trying to make sure that we don't end up with what we've had, okay, which is a lot of small groups that start strong and about half a year in die. And the reason why half a year in they die is because we weren't ready for the commitment level that comes with small groups. The other thing, and I want to give you some Raintree history just since I've been here. I have watched us lose small groups at the exact same percentage as the rest of the nation. And so what Amanda and I, particularly the two of us, and then also when Nick was with us and now with Jeff, what we've tried to do is we have tried to make small groups as easy for you to invest in as we possibly could. We try to take care of everything revolving around kids. We have tried 1,000 options when it comes to what we do with kids, okay? The answer to this is, if you want small group, you'll just deal with it, okay? I'm going to be very candid in this meeting, okay? Because like I said, this could be a very thinning the herd moment. We have hosted all of the kids up here. Before I got here, Raintree would basically babysit kids for small groups every single time, racking up an $18,000 bill for the year on babysitting for small groups. That was before I got here. I'm telling you right now, that's bad stewardship, and it'll never happen again, okay? We're not doing that. We have also seen small groups die because some of the folks in the small group were rich enough to pay for babysitting, and some of them weren't, because babysitting is expensive. We tried everything from, 2 nights a month, 2 Sunday nights a month, we'll have all of the kids come here so you can have adult conversation, and then 2 nights a month, we'll provide you with curriculum to walk through stuff with your children. Again, it did not work. We tried everything as far as basically trying to solve everyone's problems when it comes to small groups. And the truth of the matter is, the only way small groups make it is if you want it to make it. That's the only way it's going to work. And so that's why I want you to know that it's huge that you are invested. One of the ways in which small groups make it, okay, and these are the small groups that not just make it at Raintree, it's the small groups that have made it, this is what we see statistically across the nation. If you are dependent upon the Raintree staff, if you're dependent upon any ministry staff to make your small group work, it will die. This is an owned thing. We own it. It is our small group. Now, what we're not saying, and let me make sure I understand, and make sure we clarify some things in this. What I'm not saying is that you are some random entity that operates with your own identity apart from the church. But the onus to invest and to share the load is yours. And we will do everything we can to help you be successful, but the staff and the elders, we have to be an aid for you, not the fixer, okay? And that's an important distinction to make, because this is why small groups don't make it. We have to say, we want it. And I hope that I'm giving you a chance to understand, like I said, this may be a thinning the herd moment, and you may look at it and go, okay, Josh has put too much commitment on this, and I'm not sure I want to do this. That's fine, okay? Because I want you to know what you're getting into. I want to walk through a few of the reasons, though, for why, at least a lot of the reasons why I think small groups don't make it. So when I tell you here's the reasons why small groups don't make it, I also want you to hear that the reverse is true. This is why they do. Small group members in a healthy small group are not consumers, okay? Hear that. Small group members are not consumers. If consuming is what we do, and consuming is the point at which, that's our point right now in our Christianity, come to Sunday morning worship, okay? Come to Sunday morning worship, and you can consume, and you can do that, and I hope that eventually we'll grow through this and grow to be investors in the church, but if consuming is what you want, like small groups is not for you, okay? There is a part of small groups in which you consume, in which you are fed, but that comes because we are invested in also helping feed the rest of the group and sharing the load with the rest of the group. Okay, that's a huge part of this conversation. Small group members show up even when life is busy and life is stressful. okay? Small group members show up. Real small group members show up. And especially when life is busy and especially when life is stressful, because you've bought into the idea that my stresses and my burdens are a shared journey, because that's a part of small groups. And we show up even when we know maybe we're not doing well, but the reason we're investing is because somebody will be showing up that night and we can help them carry their burden. We can help them carry whatever stress they're going through. Small group members show up. Now, for those of you with young kids in the family, let me give you your out. If your children are sick, stay home, okay? Because the rest of us don't want you getting our kids sick. And I'm just being real honest. Some of us in the past regime were, let's just be honest, a tad too committed to the small group. And we brought our sick children, and then we got everybody else's kids sick, and then we couldn't figure out why nobody showed up the next week. Because you ruined our life, okay? Like, if you've got sick kids, stay home. It's a free pass to get healthy. Outside of that, most things that show up in life, we have bought into the idea that we are sharing our life with one another because this is what Christianity is. And so regardless of stresses and hurts, we show up and we are willing to let people feed us and take care of us. But if that's the only way that we enter into small group is to be taken care of, we are the consumers and we will suck the life out of that small group. We'll be the ones that kill it. So I need to make sure you hear that right now. The other part of this, and especially with families with young kids, the group has to have an agreed upon plan for children involvement. Everyone buys in to the plan for how we take care of kids, okay? And not just how we take care of kids, but the interruption of kids. When we were doing small groups at my house back a couple years ago, what you just had to assume, okay, especially when the adults got to talking, was that we would have a great discussion going, and then 20 kids would run through like Tasmanian devils right through the middle of the conversation. And that was okay. That was okay. I had a kid, and I'm not going to name him, but I had a kid take a hammer to one of my windows, okay, in our small group. Welcome to church, okay? And I was a little hacked off, but I got over it, okay? Because this is what we do. Like, we're in this together. And small groups, especially with kids in it, I should be not just invested in the adult conversation that comes through this small group. I should be invested in knowing and praying for and doing what I can to encourage your children. That's how it works. That's how we do this. All members of a small group have responsibility for the success of the small group. The one thing that was really interesting the last time we did small groups is that we had 17 people step up to lead a small group, and we had 7 show up and say, "You can use my home." Think about that for a moment. Okay? I get it. Hosting is hard. Hosting should not be the responsibility of one family. It will not end well if hosting is the responsibility of one family, especially when we're talking about young families with kids. It has to be a shared responsibility. It should not be the host's responsibility to always host, always provide food, always provide drinks, all those types of things. You will kill the small group if we do this. That has got to be a shared responsibility. And it's the same thing when it comes to leading the small group. Multiple people have to step up and help lead. That's how we do this. I have seen countless small groups do really, really, really well until the leading family decides we're burned out and we can't do anymore, and then the whole thing dies. Okay? It has to be a shared experience. Small group members are committed to deepening intimacy under Jesus. This is a huge one. We enter into small groups knowing that we are going on a journey of vulnerability together, which means life is going to get messy. You're going to talk about some things that are uncomfortable. You're going to talk about some fears. You're going to talk about the stresses we talked about a little bit earlier. That's what we do in small groups. That's a huge part of it. So when you enter into a small group, if you are looking for a Bible study, you need to end up in a Bible study. We hide way too often in small groups behind the Bible study because we know how to do the church answer thing, but we have no idea how to say, I need help with pick something. Or when somebody says, I need help with it, we say, well, I'll pray for you. Rather than saying, I will open myself up and vulnerably walk with you through whatever you're going through. Small groups is a commitment to the process and the journey of vulnerability, and it has to be that. I want to say something that makes small group people, especially if you've been in a small group for a long time. Small groups are committed to getting as big as they possibly can and bringing in new people. But there is a cap on small groups when it comes to size. And this is a hard conversation to have because I think what happens with a lot of us is we like the 4 or 5 families that we know and we're like, let's just keep it us, okay? I get that, okay? I totally understand that. What I want you to understand though is that that may also be the tool by which we bless other people. And so we've got to be open for the small group to get bigger numerically. But what you should also know is there is a cap based upon how big a small group can get before it just becomes a little church, okay? Which is a huge part of it. And you'll know when you're too big because people aren't talking and people aren't sharing, okay? Adding new members to a small group, okay, this is important. Adding new members to a small group is a group decision. Hear me when I say this, okay? This is what will make it successful. I want you to be able to know in your groups, that's part of what we establish from the get-go. Is this an open group where I can bring my friends? If I find somebody who needs church, we need to know, is the rest of the group cool with you bringing them in? Because there will be a point at which you get too big. And then you have to have the dreaded, hated church conversation about whether or not you need to split. That may come. And that's an honest conversation everybody just needs to know going in. If you've got 50 people showing up to your home, you don't have a small group. You have 3. Okay? I mean, that's just the way that it is. Now, not every small group can take care of the same amount of people either. There are some small groups that really need to stay at about 6 to 7 families. And then there are other small groups that somehow operate and do very well with 10 or 11. So I'm not going to tell you what the number is, but you will definitely know because people will stop really opening up. People will stop. That's huge. Like I said, the expectations, the shared expectations, the shared assumptions. Everybody knows we've stated what it is we're doing and how we're going to do this. The other thing, and I want you to, the last thing I'm going to talk about with this little specific spot right here is when it comes to overseeing children, parents, small group is not a time for you to stop parenting, okay? I'm saying this because not only do you see this when it comes to life out in the United States, beyond Raintree, I'm telling you I have watched this kill small groups in Raintree. This is not when we go to small group, it is not the host's job or Amanda's, if you end up in Amanda's job because she's the children's minister, to take care of your children. It is yours, okay? It is your job. And we may share that burden and we may share that load, but it is not the host family's or one person's responsibility to take care of those kids. It is yours. You didn't stop parenting just because you showed up to small group. That needs to be said because, like I said, I know what I've seen. We are in this together, but I'm still the dad of somebody when I show up to small group. And I have to care for those kids and be a part of taking care of those kids. This is a big conversation, and I totally get it. And you will have small group nights where kids ruin the discussion. Remember what we're doing. We're in this for the long haul when it comes to relationships because that's what we're doing. It's okay if somebody's child or 6 somebody's children ruin small group for the night. It's okay. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. The group will be fine. But we need to know that kind of going in. Here's kind of where we're going to go from here. Because I believe, and because basically everything we've seen when it comes to the church doing this for you, I'm just being honest, it just doesn't work. Some of you are brand new. Great. And I hope you will consider being a part of a small group. Some of you have been around a while. Some of you have been in small groups in the past, and here's kind of how we're going to end this, okay? If you're already in a small group and you're doing well, blessings. Please keep doing well. Okay? And please keep taking care of one another. Keep doing that. How can we help you? If you need ideas about curriculum or you need things like that, you let us know and we will help you do that. Some of us already kind of know a bunch of people, or we've been in small groups with people in the past. Maybe you already have an idea of people you would like to be in small group with, okay? You are freed to group up. You are free to do this, okay? I want you to be free to do this. Okay? Remember, there is a point at which we get too big. So we want to be as inclusive as we possibly can with grouping up, but I'm going to put the onus on you to do so. For those of you who are brand new to our church and you have no idea where to go, you're the group I want to help. Okay? It's not that I won't help the rest of you. Make sure you hear that, okay? But I want you to hear commitment levels. Okay? I want you to understand what we're getting into. What we may end up with, and I've got a couple lists, and I'm going to go ahead and start sending these around, okay? Actually, I'm going to wait on that for a second. What I want us to figure out is, let's group up as best we can, and you guys begin having these conversations. And the goal is that hopefully maybe the Sunday after Labor Day, which gives us a little bit more than a month, we've started a few small groups, okay? And you've decided, do you want to meet on Wednesday nights? Do you want to meet on Sunday nights? Would you rather meet on Friday nights? Would you rather meet at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning? I don't care, okay? I don't care. Yes. I'm just saying, you pick it and you go. What I need from you is I need to know who is in your small group, where you're meeting, and what time. That's what our church needs to know, okay? Because that helps us know who has entered into this level of commitment, who has entered into this level of community. Now, here are your other options, okay? Let me throw out another couple other options. One of the things that I think is very helpful, especially to people who work shifts, okay? You know what I'm talking about when I say you work shifts? Also when it comes to people who are parents of young children. The small group commitment may feel like it's a lot. So, start a supper club, okay? Meet together, have dinner together, maybe twice a month, okay? Have a Saturday lunch together. Okay? Maybe pick a time where on Sunday afternoons when you finish church, 4 or 5 of you families, you guys are kind of getting to know each other and we're not quite certain we can do the whole small group thing. We've decided that maybe once or twice a month when church is over, we're all going to go eat together. That is great. Do that. There are all sorts of ways in which we can build community if that doesn't necessarily fit the commitment level of small groups. That's okay. And you are not going to be shamed, and you should not feel guilty. None of that should take place, because I understand what happens with life, and seasonal life changes things, and maybe right now, because of the age of your kids or a job or whatever it is, you can't commit to every single time being there. That's okay. I would encourage you, jump into connection class. I would encourage you, serve with Amanda, serve with Jeff, serve with Chris. I would encourage you, do lunches, do dinners, do coffees. Make hospitality a big part of what you do, where once or twice a month you really get together and have dinner together and start building some relationships. And maybe one day that ends up in a small group. And if it doesn't, because of what's going on with the pace of life right now and the dynamics of which you have, maybe that doesn't work, and that's okay. That's okay. What I'm trying to stave off is the disappointment that when we enter into a small group, not everybody enters in with the same level of commitment and the same desire to bring vulnerability and a long-term investment in these relationships, because that's what kills small groups. What I want to do here is I've got a couple of boards for you to sign or for you to sign. I would love for you to give me your cell phone. Your name, your email, and cell phone, so we can kind of get all of your information and make sure we have all of that, because there are some of you that for some reason we don't have this information in our directory. And then the other thing I want, thank you, take that one, and you can just start passing them along, okay? is I want you to, the other part of the third one is small group plans. Like, and what I mean by that is, do you already have a small group? Do you already kind of have a lead on developing a small group? And you tell me yes or no. And what I'm going to basically take from that when I see it is who's got a plan for small group and who doesn't. And for those of you who don't have a plan for small group, the pins should be right on the thing there. If you don't have a plan for it, you're going to be my first group that I call and I try to get with. Okay? What I want to do here at the end of this time is kind of open it up. Do you have questions? Do you have anything you kind of want to know? Anything like that? You can say no. I try to answer as many questions ahead of time with the presentation. But are there thoughts, questions, things you want to? Oh, Mac. Yeah. Okay. If you already kind of know you want to lead a small group and would be willing to lead a small group, go ahead and you can stand. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. We can kind of see you, kind of recognize who you are. So we've got, well, the Zubies, you guys are continuing with the one you're doing, right? Correct? Y'all are continue with the one you're already doing? Okay. The goalies, are you standing to say? Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you'll help lead a small group, a new small group too. So if you are new, brand new to Raintree, please look around. I'm going to give you just a few minutes, another minute or two. See these people, come talk with these people, and we will. You can kind of see. Do you want to do this? I know that we're looking at all sorts of options here. We've got boards going around. What I would like to do is we've got a few minutes left of class. I would love for you to begin kind of talking. If you've got an idea on joining up with a few small group people, y'all go ahead and start having this conversation now. And basically what I'm going to do is once I get all of this information, be looking for a mass email from me. Okay? Be looking for a mass email from me. And what I'm going to ask for is, where are we in this process so I can begin updating who's in a small group, who's not in a small group. Okay?
Can I add? It's nice to have a multi-generational small group because you have the older, the middle, and the younger. And it's nice to see the younger kids interact with the older people. And for even us that are in the middle to ask the older for experience, advice, whatever it might be. Because you're going to have different stages of life. Some people have been through it, weathered it, and some people haven't.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, if you didn't hear what she said, the big thing she was pushing is multi-generational small groups, which I think if you've heard me speak at all, I am right there with you. I would love to see as many multi-generational relationships at Raintree as we can get because there is something about younger learning from the older. And if you're the oldest in your small group, man, you better be wise. Okay, I'm just telling you. No, I'm just teasing. You do your best. Janice? Yeah. 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 Yeah, I think that's huge. I think one of the things you should hear is, you've reached community when your small group is pretty messy with people's problems. Okay? Like, that's how you know you've hit a new marker in your relational dynamic in your group. But what I also want you to hear is, if it starts to get messy with people's problems, that's not the time to quit. Like, that's when real ministry starts to take off. That's when real relationships begin to break through to the next level because you are sitting with people in their stuff and you are being a part of that journey. And so that's a part of that commitment that when we get into small groups, hey, so-and-so's got this problem or so-and-so's got this problem or we're going through this, that becomes shared conversation. It becomes a part of what we do together. And that's how you get from, surface level to something deeper. So here's what I want to do. Please get to the boards that are going around. Please sign those. I want to just free you that if you kind of know like there's people around that we're thinking about joining up for a small group, I want you to start kind of talking and kind of seeing this and kind of see what you come up with. If you have no idea where to go and where to start, I'm looking around the room though, and most of us have at least a couple of relationships in the room. Get there, start talking to one another, and kind of see what you come up with, and I'm going to do a quick prayer and then for you, okay? If you did not sign the boards that are coming around, please get to those before you leave.